I wish there were palm trees on 495. I wish there were palm trees.
We're at a Restoration Kitchen in Lindenhurst. Welcome to the 495 podcast. This is your host, Michael White, and co-host, I guess we're both co-hosts. I'm not trying to Bigfoot you. Nick Esposito. We're here in Lindenhurst, beautiful Lindenhurst, up-and-coming Lindenhurst. This place is about to pop. Everyone knows it. You could feel it just from being down here and meeting everyone involved. Billy Miller, owner of Restoration Kitchen. You guys opened early this year?
Late last year. August 28th of last year.
And, oh yeah, that's true. It's 2019 now. And
it's a new year.
It's a new year, new us. And it's a non-profit restaurant.
Yes.
We'll get more into that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit of a punchline because other restaurants is like, we don't make profits. What is it? We're all non-profit. And then RJ Renna, village trustee, bid board member, Chamber of Commerce vice president.
Yep.
Right?
Any more titles?
No, we're leaving a couple things out, but he's got most of the
He's got a 9-page resume, this guy. So we're really excited to be here. This place is so cool and homey and beautiful.
Thanks,
I think one of the best things about it is we decided that we wanted to expand our Babylon website's coverage to the Lindenhurst area. And us, Mike lived in West Babylon. I'm from Center East, so I didn't really know much about this area at all. And he's like, let's check out this area. I heard there's a lot of rumblings that there's good things going on here. One of the first places we stopped when we decided to expand our coverage was here. We were amazed by how amazing this place is, your guys' story. The community, once you recommended us to go visit the other restaurants and businesses around town. Yeah, we went to the brewery, went to the meadery. It was just amazing. We wanted to thank you first and foremost for, accepting us into the community. Because, we're a new news organization. Everything's been great so far.
Well, that's kind of the best part about Lindenhurst. And RJ will definitely back me up on this. But the fact that you put one thing out there, one thing good, and the whole entire village comes together and spreads the word like wildfires. And,
yeah,
you can attest to all of that.
100%. We have a history of that here. It's a great community. We've withstood a couple of really crazy tests, and Sandy being probably one of the hardest. But it provided a great opportunity. Lindenhurst came together and started Camp Bulldog. Neighbors came together, had food lined up hours after the storm, had supplies, and that just grew, and it continued to grow. And that support system is what this community is about. And Billy here, doing a non-for-profit restaurant, couldn't characterize Lindenhurst in a better way. Yeah. Everything we're about. It's about giving back. It's about supporting each other. And that's the greatest part about having him here, is that he just fits right in. He doesn't live in the village. He's just outside of it. But
for now.
For now. He wants us to expand it. But we are happy to have him.
So you live in Lindenhurst?
I do, yeah.
And you grew up in West Babylon, right?
I grew up in West Babylon, yeah.
Sweet.
My mother grew up in North Lindenhurst. I grew up just literally on the other side of the border of West Babylon and Lindenhurst. Spent my childhood days walking to the movie theater and Werner's Bowl and all the old
that neighborhood right
places.
behind the wholesale liquidators.
What's that?
Were you like behind wholesale liquidators?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not only Sandy, but Lindenhurst lost more people in 9/11 than any hamlet or village in Suffolk County as well, right?
Yeah, we continue to memorialize those people every year. Our 9/11 ceremony, although other towns probably have seen their shrink, ours has actually continued to grow. Yeah. Over 100 people this year at our ceremony, just remembering. We all came together at Fireman's Park, and we have a beautiful memorial which remembers those people. And every house probably had an American flag the day after 9/11, and you could still see many of them still flying because, we are a very patriotic and community here, and we support our troops, and we support our firemen and EMTs and our people that serve this country. Yeah. So 100%.
So I remember talking to you guys before, and you guys kind of said Lindenhurst was the Babylon before Babylon. What did you guys mean by that?
I'm going to let you take this one, Billy. Good.
No, Lindenhurst was that town. Lindenhurst was that village, a village of a lot of things always happening, a lot of people always coming to Lindenhurst. Now it's kind of expanded a little bit east towards Babylon, and Babylon does a great job with it, and they handle it very well. But Lindenhurst was that beforehand. And,
downtown, right?
What's that?
It was that it town.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of took a hit. I think like every rising village, it takes a hit, but then it comes back, and it comes back stronger and better than ever. And I think mean, I know that this is the start of the comeback tour of Lindenhurst and what it is.
And can we start? Why did you decide that you wanted to open up a restaurant in Lindenhurst? I mean, just because you saw that this place was on a rise, or like, did you notice that while you were here?
No, honestly, Lindenhurst, like I said before, it's been near and dear to my heart. I grew up in West Babylon, but my mother grew up in North Lindenhurst. I grew up on the other side of the border. It was, I rode my bike through the village as a kid. I went swimming lessons up in North Lindenhurst. And when I was looking for places, the first place I would always look is Lindenhurst and see what was vacant. And then when this place did come on the market as a vacancy, I jumped right on it because that was the place I wanted to be. I looked at other villages and other towns. But, my first reaction was always, every single morning, it was you wake up and you see what opens up in Lindenhurst and if there is something. And then when this place opened, I came in here and it was perfect. It was exactly what we wanted. Nice, small, quaint little area in a village that I believed in. And when I first started, I didn't know what was going on. I heard rumblings and rumors and, this might be coming and apartments here and apartments there, but nothing was in stone. And that wasn't the reason I picked this place. I wasn't picking the place because there's going to be a big apartment unit there, or there's going to be a rising place in the village and the revitalization. I picked a place because I believed in Lindenhurst and what it was.
You mentioned it before, too. It's a not-for-profit restaurant. We obviously wrote about it, but people that may have listened may have not read the article. So explain that whole business model of being a non-for-profit restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, growing all my life, I've done a lot of things. I was a teacher, I was a guidance counselor. I worked in not-for-profits. And I've always been in this industry, whether it was when I was a teacher, I did it in the summers and at nights, or when I worked in not-for-profits, I did it weekends and nights. It was always in my blood. I've done every bit and piece of this industry, so I got to kind of combine. Not many people can go to work every day and say, I get to combine what I know so well with what I'm so passionate about and go to work every single day. Drive a minute and a half, which is kind of nice too. But go to work every day, being able to do both of those in the same building.
So RJ,
you got an apartment upstairs, so you could just walk right down the stairs.
My wife
cut that
will
commute
love that.
down.
So RJ, when you heard about the idea of a non-for-profit restaurant coming to Lindenhurst, what did you think about that?
You could be honest.
When you start talking about those things, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's get him in and let's get him going. What does he need?
I think that's everyone's reaction.
Yeah, and I remember I came here kind of before Billy had started doing too much work, and I was kind of like, I don't know if this guy knows what he's getting himself into. That was my immediate thing. But Jason Katakis, who's the head of our bid board, kind of helped get Billy in here. And he was like, I'm telling you, this guy's going to do good. He's a great guy. He's a Lindenhurst guy. He's one of us, and he's going to do well. And, you got to trust the people you work with. And we do a lot of good work with Jason. So that was it. I was like, all right, well, let's get him his permits. Let's get him through. What can we do here,
It was pretty much one of those, if he fails, it's your fault, Jason.
Yeah.
Now, every 3 months,
every 4 months.
Every 4 months.
Yep.
So
Get it right, Mike.
Yeah. So 3 times a year. So
Yes.
I'm good at math too. You tally up your net profits, and then you donate them to one of 2 charities.
Yeah. Well,
that's
both
designated
charities.
for that. Right. I'm sorry, both
Yep.
charities.
So every
you can
4
tell
months
us
we
how that
take
works?
2 charities, we put them up on our wall. And the idea is, as much as it's the funds that go back, it's every single person that walks in here. People live life with blinders on a lot, and it's, people have to go out to eat and have to go out, not have to, but always do, and always find themselves going that way.
We have to.
Yeah.
But to be able to put something in front of them where it's the awareness of what these charities and foundations and organizations do on a daily basis and who they help and why they help. So it's, it's one of 2 things. It's the awareness that really goes out to help these local charities, because it's always a small local charity that we try and help. And then on top of that, every 4 months we take our net profits, and everyone that comes in to eat, you get a little token, and you get to pick one of the charities. Again, we have literature written about each charity or foundation at each table, and I tell everyone, I said, take a glimpse through it, read through it, know what they do, know why they do it. You can make an educated decision after your meal as well onto which charity to put your token in. And after 4 months, we add it up, we turn it into a percentage, and we take our net profits and we give back to A and B according to percentage that everyone that comes in here.
Point, they're local charities.
Yes,
Everyone's
they're always local
connected.
charities. Yes.
What are the 2 charities right now that let's give a plug for them?
So the first 2 charities that we had were were the Suffolk County United Veterans, which deals with the mental health and awareness of vets here in Suffolk County. And then the other one we have is the Trustee RJ Renna Foundation, which deals a lot with the developing developing a cure for childhood cancer. So that was our first two. The second two that we have are the Beat Lives On, which is one that deals with addiction. Addiction, unfortunately, it's an issue in our society, and it's a rising issue. So this is one that helps. Miss Joy Newman was a woman. She lost her son to addiction. She never wants to see a man or a woman or a family go through what she went through. And the other one that we have is the Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition, which is located here in Lindenhurst, which helps a lot of men and women suffering from breast cancer that that need that extra little help at home, and that need that extra help, with treatments and finances, and the little things like cleaning the house or going grocery shopping and things like that.
Childcare, grocery shopping, money for whips.
Forget about everyday life.
Yep. Awesome. So did you make the announcement yet about the first two charities? And
we have not. We were ready to, but we were persuaded to do it at a later date.
Okay.
So next Wednesday, the Suffolk County United Veterans are coming in, which I was going to tell you about. They're coming in with a couple of veterans, and they want to do a big check presentation. Me, I was ready to just put it in the mail and send it, but I was advised not to.
You got to make a big deal out of it.
And then the Trustee Renna, the Trustee Renna Foundation, they're having a big gala as of Saturday evening. So they insisted that I present it there.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So nice.
Talking about Lindenhurst and whole, I was curious before Mike made this comment. I don't know. Does this offend you guys? Like, Lindenhurst could be like a mini Patchogue one day. Being two Lindenhurst guys, in an up and coming, thriving area. Like, what did that comment mean to you guys?
Yeah, so I get that a lot, and people always like, you guys want to be like Patchogue and like Babylon. And I tell everybody, we're different, and we're different for a lot of different reasons. I feel like our community is a little bit more compact. It's just a different layout, a different setup. But I think anybody that wants to improve themselves, and as a community we want to improve ourselves, and we're comparing ourselves to things that are successful and things that are doing well. I mean, we're aspiring to be downtowns that are talked about, downtowns that are visited, downtowns we all frequent. I'm 27 years old. I got a history to going to RVC and hitting up Bab and going to Bayshore and now Farmingdale. I mean, and going to these places because they're attractive, because they drive you there with the nightlife and the excitement that goes on in the community and the investment that the villages and the chambers of commerce make in providing events and keeping things exciting. So it doesn't offend me, but everybody that says you want to be like Babylon and Patchogue, I say no, we're different, and we are different because everybody's unique in their own way.
You mentioned. I'm sorry.
No, and I was just going to say we got Billy, so we're very.
That's right. You had mentioned the nightlife, and this is something when I was editor of the Riverhead News Review, I used to speak about in columns, because I felt like people in that area were failing to recognize the importance of nightlife. When Bayshore was down in the dumps, people at my age at the time in the early 20s were still willing to go there because it was Nutty Irishman, So growing up, we were very familiar with downtown Bayshore, even though I lived in Comac, because everybody went to the Nutty Irishman, and that was one of the big things that drew people down there and, helped revitalize that whole area. The Bolton Center obviously played a huge role, but it's funny to say, but so did the Nutty Irishman.
Yeah.
And in Patchogue, they attribute a lot of their, first wave of revitalization to the Patchogue Theater being reopened. And then from there, you had the Brick House Brewery and you had a little nightlife. And then you had a barbecue and so on and so forth. Is there anything in Lindenhurst that you guys point to that sort of got the ball rolling here? Anything in particular, or just kind of like over time things have started to shape up?
So I'm going to take this one if you don't mind.
Please.
So I think the biggest thing that had to happen was we had to get control of the conversation of Lindenhurst. We had to change what people were saying about Lindenhurst, that it wasn't a business-friendly environment. So, and that we wanted to change. We wanted to revitalize. We wanted to bring new businesses in, and we wanted to make things work. And I think initially we had thought the bank was going to be the cornerstone. The old bank on Wellwood Avenue, that Connor and Robert Stapleton were going to build out a restaurant, and they still are going to be doing that. We had originally thought that was going to be the cornerstone, and then places like Sidelines came in, and then a couple other new businesses popped into the area, like the Color Palette and Bizou. And then all of a sudden, Billy just popped up. And Billy popped up on the scene, and all of a sudden, this conversation about the bank being the cornerstone kind of like took a backseat because they were just still trying to work out some loans and stuff like that. And we had a preconceived theory about what the cornerstone was.
Sure.
And this grandeur thing, when really the cornerstone was Billy's investment here and what he did. And I mean, for the first time ever, we had a night, I walked from a restaurant, the Village Lantern, to WA Meadworks, to Restoration Kitchen. I've never bar hopped in Lindenhurst in my life, and I was able to bar hop on a Friday night because of Billy's Place and WA Meadworks. So, yeah, if we talk about a cornerstone, if we talk about a catalyst, if we talk about the boom, when I am talking to new businesses, I tell them to come here. And I meet with them here because I want them to meet Billy. I want them to understand what we could do, and I want them to know that we're going to go through whatever we have to do to get them to open up, and that Billy's non-for-profit restaurant, that he's not here to really, become a billionaire on. He's here to give back to the community. Is not only making it's beating everything. It's doing phenomenal. I keep killing him. Expand, and I think he has plans to add a deck outside, and that's going to be great in the summer when you hop off the train.
Billy, is this the first time you're hearing these kind words?
At that, yeah. How does
that make you feel?
It's humbling, you take everything you got, you put it in something, and you hope that someone cares, and when people do, and they appreciate it, it kind of it goes a long way, which is exciting. But, walking into this village, how many people told me, oh, Lindenhurst, they're not business friendly, they're not going to do anything for you, it's going to be hard, they're going to be difficult, they're not going to let you do this, they're not going to let you do that. That was the old persona of what Lindenhurst was, and when I came in and I walked into the village hall and met with these guys and everyone else in the village, it was the most hospitable environment I've ever seen. I mean, I didn't mind walking in the village hall to hand in money and right. Dues and fees and
you felt like you were making
plans. Yeah, it was like, it's actually pleasurable. Yeah, you would never think that.
I have to say that's a similar phenomenon in Patchogue as well. First time I covered a Patchogue Village Hall meeting, after years of covering, whether it's city council district or, town halls, I felt like, wow, everyone in this room is on the same page. Like, this is wild. Usually it's egos and people trying to grandstand and show each other up.
Politics.
Yeah, and it just felt like, wow, everyone in this room is on the same page. When you go to a Patchogue Village planning meeting, and I can't speak to Lindenhurst because I haven't covered the village in Village Hall, they'll approve projects and everyone's applauding afterward. And it was just like, wow. And when they had this big economic study about Patchogue over the past 10 years and how much money came in, one of the first things that the economists, the researchers pointed to was a group of business and government officials who were all on the same page and all working toward a mutual goal. And that's what it sounds like is happening here as well.
Yeah, and one of the big things, just to add on, because I was at that meeting, was the development and getting more feet on the ground, and that helped out a lot in Patchogue when Tri-Tech came in and built New Village, those beautiful apartments, and that's kind of the same formula here.
You guys have a Tri-Tech.
Yeah, the Tri-Tech coming in soon. It's going to be a big help to this neighborhood.
Could you tell us about the Tri-Tech project and what you think that might mean to the area?
I definitely think the village is very excited for it, and I think that. Not everybody always wants the same thing, Nightlife in the village might scare some people. Having a 4-story building across from our train station might scare some people because it's change. Mm-hmm. It's different. And that scares people. But, we have to be smart. And we met with the people from Patchogue. We met with the head of the bid in Patchogue. We met with Paul Pontieri. And we sat down with those people, and the first thing that they said was the number one thing you have to do is you have to get the Chamber of Commerce, the bid, and the village all on the same page. Yeah. And that's the first step we took. And it's been hugely beneficial. I mean, it's getting Jason Katakis and Joanne Betcher and myself and Village Hall all together. It brings support together. We're all fighting for the same thing. And all of those groups supported the Tri-Tech project. And I can tell you the Village Board supports the Tri-Tech project. We ran on it, Our election in 2018 was a referendum on this, on doing Tri-Tech, and we won hands down against opposition. So, yeah, I'm excited. We're excited. Shovels haven't even hit the ground, and we can't stop businesses from opening up here. Wow. We're running out of places, and people laugh when we say that, but I could look at every store and say that there could be a name on it, or there's 3 people that are looking at it or fighting for it.
Awesome.
And that's a beautiful thing, it's all culminating right now. And, just to, punch Billy here in the gut a little, it started with Bill, Billy opened up first. And I got to tell you, Billy's the closest thing to Tri-Tech. While they're making their way to our downtown, they're going to stop here. When people get off the train, they're going to stop here. Right. So excited for Billy and the great things that are ahead with the project.
And certainly that happened in Patchogue, too, when they were proposing the New Village project. It became that election became contentious, and it became a referendum on basically that project. And the voters spoke, and when you look at it now, it's beautiful. One
of the keys to their success.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of the keys to success there.
Could you talk about some of the other projects that are?
Yeah, let's list stuff. Could we list stuff for our listeners?
Some of the stuff that
what's open recently and what's coming down the pipe.
Some of the stuff that we may have wrote about already.
Okay, so let's start on Wellwood Avenue. Yeah, we'll start on the south side of Wellwood Avenue. We'll make our way up. The old bank, I was just talking to Connor just yesterday. They're getting back on board to get going. They intend to do a build-out, and hopefully they'll be up and running soon. I mean, imagine they're going to seat over 100 and something people. They have a main floor and upstairs. They're going to have a back vault where people could sit down in, and it's going to be huge.
What's the concept, the food concept? Is it going to be like a Teller's?
No, I would say the concept is more in line with probably like the post office.
Okay.
It's like supposed to be a family environment too. You could go to the post office with your family and have a good time. It's you don't have to be in a suit. You could be in jeans. It's for the working man, and Lindenhurst is a blue collar town, and we're proud of that. Everybody here works really hard, and after you keep going down the street from Connor's place, across the street we have Top Bun. It was the old Top Bun. It was a burger joint. That's going to be turned into Hermanas, and they're going to do empanadas, taquitos, and cocktails. Every village needs a Mexican place. Whether you're in Swell Taco and Patchogue, or you're in Del Fuego and St. James and Patchogue and Babylon, wherever they are, they're everywhere, I feel like. You need a Mexican place. You keep going a little bit more north. We had WA Meadworks come on, so you know about them. They're here. We had the Color Palette come in. They do paint classes for kids and adults.
They're doing a lot of collaboration with WA Meadworks, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and also with Sidelines, which is a sports bar that opened up there. We have a Soul Bowl place coming in there right by the Color Palette. Then if you keep going a little bit north, obviously we said WA Meadworks in that parking lot. Elite Dance, they were a dance studio. They just opened up Elite Fit, which is a fitness studio now right next to WA Meadworks. There was a Quiznos, then it was an Angelo's Pizza, and that's going to soon to be become Bakudo, and that will be a sake steam bun noodle place. The people from, as you know, Bayshore, from Verde are going to be doing that. Yeah, Zach.
Great chef.
So that's going to be insane. I mean, the renderings on that place, if they don't excite you and they don't make you feel like something's going on here, you don't have a pulse. You really don't, Let's not stop there. We could keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going. We got the brewery right there.
27A, yep. It's like you looked at the map before you came here. You know it's coming. 27A Brewery. We are bringing brewing back to Lindenhurst. Yeah. Lindenhurst started brewing. I say it started brewing, but we had one of the only breweries on Long Island for the longest time, and it was in the Viking building over on Montauk Highway. It's Linden Brewery. We went through Prohibition. We went through a lot of different things, and unfortunately it closed down. But we're bringing brewing back to Lindenhurst with 27A. 2 Lindenhurst graduates. I mean, kids I went to school with are opening up a brewery. They're a couple. They're amazing people. Melissa and Ryan Cook. They're going to do great things here. A small place, and that's okay. They want it to be friendly, and they wanted you to feel like your family when you go there. Yeah. Next, and I'm almost done, I promise, but I'm really not, is the coffee shop. We have a coffee shop, Muni's Coffee Shop. Lindenhurst people again, opening up a coffee shop. It's going to be really, really good. We're in conversations also, and these things are unofficial, with potentially another brewery, with a burrito guy, Italian place, an Irish place. Also in conversations with a wine bar. And a pretzel place, a donut place where everybody knows how we all love donuts.
Donut place. That's nice.
There's a lot.
That's when you've arrived when the donut place shows up in town.
So was it a type of thing where at what point did all these places start coming to you? What was that timeline?
So why don't you go back to like a year and a half ago when he was almost cold calling places saying, hey, do you guys feel about Lindenhurst? And then all of a sudden, now he's got a pile of business cards, I'm sure, in his back pocket. Everybody trying to get into Lindenhurst.
What do they say? You miss all the shots you don't take, right? So
Yeah.
you were there taking shots.
So you know what's funny is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We went to Patchogue, we went to Bayshore, we went to Babylon, we went around towns. We went to Massapequa, went to Farmingdale. We met with people. Hey, listen, Lindenhurst, it's coming around. Letting you know now. You know, here you go.
You want it early? Here's your
That's
shot.
it. Listen, things don't always manifest overnight, and I think what was huge, and I'm not just saying this because he's here, was really Billy's thing. Billy opened up this place was big because it got airtime, real airtime. It got Newsday, it got Fox News. I mean, multiple write-ups to Newsday.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chamber of Commerce pushed Billy's page. We
You're on
wanted to
ABC
get followers,
too, right?
Fox 5.
Fox 5.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so
Greater Babylon.
Greater Babylon too. Yeah, I would say. What would you say? Probably like about a year ago, it all started drumming up, and Jason Katakis has been the lead on a lot of that stuff, bringing these people in.
Yeah, we haven't met Jason yet, but we've been told we need to
Yeah.
ASAP.
You
Yeah.
got to.
Yeah.
One of the cool things we did too, which was really positive, was we did a Proud Town video
That was a good
with
one.
Greg, and Greg did a nice video. I think I was mentioning it to you.
Yeah,
Nick.
you did, yep.
It was a little bit long. It was 13 minutes. It was only supposed to be 2 minutes, but once you got going
It's
talking
like a
about
Ken
all.
Burns documentary.
Yeah,
It's 2019, guys.
Yeah, it was a little longer than we thought. But all of a sudden, people started to wake up and realize there's a lot of great things going on here.
Even people that have lived here forever got to see this video and say, wow, forgot that was there, or, oh, I remember doing that. And
Yeah.
It was just, it was eye-awakening for a lot of people, I think.
And there's great history here too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Babe Ruth came play ball here. He used to come here a lot, played against Lindenhurst
Didn't he sit in that seat right there and have a drink?
Billy says that every time because he wants people to
Yeah, just
come
start. Keep saying it.
It'll
Become
catch on
reality,
eventually.
yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do? But I do. I send everybody to Billy. So everybody I talk to talks to Billy probably, you know? Right, Bill?
Yeah, we were
They
sent
might.
To, we were sent to
I
Billy,
talked to a lot of
Yeah, we
people.
were sent to Billy. That was one of
Yeah.
the first places we were sent to.
I talk to a lot of people. I don't know who they are most of the time.
I got to write this guy a check, let me tell you, for marketing our village.
So let's go back to the question I asked you. So when was that timeline? When did all these business, like, you know, you went and you knocked on all these doors?
A year ago.
So about a year ago, you know, you just started getting like a
quick
flood.
turnaround.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
flood of phone calls and emails and inquiries.
Yeah, a year ago it started getting really heavy, and it's still heavy, you know? I think once we break ground over at Tritech, it's going to get even heavier. You know, we talk about our
Which is
business
scary.
district and expanding it, you know, and making it bigger because we want to accommodate more businesses.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to
Yeah.
run out of space.
You
You
also
either
think
go
that's-
up or go out.
Exactly. And what's
Yeah.
great about this is, like, there's a lot of stores that probably could use a little bit of a reno. And new businesses coming in is a great opportunity for that. It improves the value of the properties. You know, I don't want to talk about the tax base going up on that level because
Those-
you're, you
Those
know,
people feel more comfortable investing in their storefronts when they see other people. They see other influx
When they
of
see
money coming in left
Yep.
and right. Yeah.
And of course, I mean, listen, I'll be really frank with you guys. I'm ready to buy a house. Me and my wife, we've been married since August 30th. Billy had to open up 2 days before I got married, and I had to come here. My wife was going to kill me.
Congratulations.
But, you know, we live in an apartment right now, and we're getting ready to buy a house. And I keep telling her, I'm like, you know, I'm going to make this place good for us. Like, we're going to raise our kids here.
Yeah.
We're going to stay here forever. We're never leaving Lindenhurst. I already bought my cemetery plot. I'm staying here for life.
For life.
You know, so I think making all these businesses happen and going, I mean, I spend probably 30 hours a week on village stuff, you know, for a $8,500 paycheck I get a year. And every minute of it's worth it because I'm investing in my future and everybody in our community's future.
And as far as, you know, you being so involved in the community, have you talked to a lot of residents? What are you know, some homeowners? What do they say about some of the development that's gone on there?
You say home aloners?
Homeowners.
What do they say?
So it's kind of tough. There are some real SOBs
Like you said,
out
people,
there.
yeah.
They really are. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to be really frank about it. You know, we talk about kids in elementary school and how back in the day before social media, bullying never followed them home. You know, it was on the way home maybe, but once they got in the house, they were safe. And now because the the advent of social media, it's 24/7. You're constantly getting bullied. That's what public office is like.
Yeah.
And you know, you promote something great like knocking down a half burnt down house that sat for 7 years, and 2 homes that had illegal activity going on, and ambulance calls every week that we bought and we knocked down, and we put a parking lot for businesses because parking was in such need here, and people are mad about it. And you're like, what? Are you serious? Everybody was like, when are these burnt down houses gonna go? And then you do it, and people attack you for it. So I and Billy sees a lot of it, I'm sure. It's tough.
I don't envy your job, man.
Yeah.
Not at
I
all.
wouldn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
But people are happy because people know progress is happening, and I think I run into a lot of people here, but they're like, keep going. Don't let the naysayers control the conversation. Let us, the people, the future of this village, control the conversation and push us forward in the direction we need to be heading.
That's something Pontieri says all the time. Not to keep bringing it back to that, but that's where I started this business and got to know all those people and watch this resurgence work, and that seems to be what a lot of successful politicians will tell you. You're going to hear this stuff, but you got to just move forward with whatever your vision is. Because what else are you doing there?
It hurts, though.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I kid you not.
Yeah.
I mean, people say things all the time. You're corrupt. You're this. You're that. And it hurts. I have a family. I have a mother. I have a father. I have a beautiful wife. And one day I'll have kids. And to think that people think it's okay to say those things because they're on social media is not right. And I'll go back at them and I'll tell them, no, I'm sorry you feel that way, but that's not it. That's not the case. And, I think I even get flack for promoting Billy. You know what I mean? It's like, amazing. It's crazy. People are beating you up because you're promoting a local business. But that exists in this world, and you have to be prepared for that, and you have to combat it.
One thing we didn't, when we launched our websites, one thing we didn't do was allow anonymous commenting at the bottom of the Newsday. Eventually took it away too. I mean, you read a Newsday story, and then there'd be 500 comments, one more disgusting after the next, and that's something we wanted no part of. So at least now, if people are commenting on Facebook, at least they're showing their faces. Things got pretty nasty.
It's easy to say those things behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it many times where people have went at him on social media pages, and then he said, well, listen, why don't we get down and sit down and have a drink or a cup of coffee and let's talk about it. And that's when everyone gets quiet.
Right. Yeah, no, they don't want any part of that.
Radio silence.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about, to the uninitiated, to the listener, tell us about the TriTech project here and what exactly is happening. And where?
Yeah, so TriTech has taken over just under 7-acre piece of property, and it was formerly Vulcanite. It was a button factory. It was Lakeville Kitchens most recently.
It's the oldest building in the village.
It's one of
Did you guys approach them, or did they approach you? How did that go?
They approached us years ago, about 3 years ago, maybe 4. It's been an ongoing thing. I kind of came onto the board after the project was very heavily introduced. And ultimately, they're going to create 260 units, 260 apartment units. They're not limited to seniors, but welcoming to seniors, of course. Ironically, when this whole project came up, there were a lot of people saying, we don't want this, the community doesn't want this. I've actually had people come to Village Hall, request me and say, hey, I want to talk to you about the TriTech project. And I'm like, oh, no, this isn't going to be good. And I sit down with them, and they're like, I want to get into the apartment. Put me on a list.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people love living in Lindenhurst. People love this community. They don't want to leave their friends, but they don't want to own a home anymore, So they don't want to take care of things. They don't want to maintenance the yard. So they have an opportunity to get an apartment, to live here, have a community feel, and be 2 steps from the downtown and the
close
train.
to the water too.
Very close to the water.
Yep.
So the project's going to introduce 260 apartments to the village, high-end luxury apartments with beautiful recreational space. One of the great components of this project that nobody ever talks about, and in fact people just brush right over, is the fact that there's a stream that runs right through Lakeville. And that stream is, right now, it's got concrete that borders it, and it's kind of, I don't want to use the word polluted, but it's polluted.
Yeah.
There's garbage in it, and that stream goes right into our Great South Bay. And the DEC has came in and they've reviewed the plans, they've done a Sequoia study, and they've said TriTech project promises to clean up this stream by improving it, by removing the concrete, bringing it back to its natural state, and providing an amenity for the people that live there. There's going to be a beautiful bridge that crosses it. So now we're talking about cleaning up things that were damaged years ago and providing a beautiful amenity for people that are going to live there with barbecues and all these things. It's going to be great.
One thing TriTech does well is luxury apartments. I mean, every garden apartment thing you see on Long Island, it all says luxury apartments, but these are actually real luxury apartments. It's Class A living.
Yeah.
And that's on my bucket list. Live in a Tritech building for at least a couple of years.
And is there any proposed spots or businesses inside the Tritech complex?
You know what's interesting is when this whole thing initiated, the conversation really was, Tritech didn't want to take away from the business owners or the property in the downtown. They wanted to bring people to the downtown, not pull them away from it. So they proposed to not put any business component in the project, and it was all going to be residential. So initially, I think people were like saying how the project couldn't succeed unless it had a business component. I don't think they're going to have a problem renting those and occupying those apartments, and I think it's very good of Tritech to look towards bringing people to our village and not pulling people away.
So what you're saying is Tritech elected not to have any sort of retail component,
yep,
right?
100%.
Okay, excellent. What's the timeline on that project getting going? And
they're soon to take ownership of the property. Mm-hmm. They have their process for getting permits.
To get their IDA benefits.
Yep, that's all done. Yep. Really, what it boils down to now is they have to do take over ownership. Then they have to do asbestos abatement, demo. We'll do a groundbreaking ceremony, and then it's a build out. So 2 years down the road or so.
Before we finish, I wanted to ask you guys both the same question, and you guys.
What's your favorite color? Nick is very good at questions.
What was your favorite article that you read that I wrote? No, I'm just kidding. What is your favorite part about Lindenhurst? We'll start with you, Billy.
The people. Definitely the people, by far. You get to see a community come together in ways that you don't really get to. I mean, I go in West Babylon. Yeah, West Babylon has that community, but there's never been a community like this, and I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you put one thing out there, and everyone, if it's willing to help somebody in the Lindenhurst village, they're all about it. You put one place in there, and if it's ready to help the Lindenhurst village, everyone's there, and everyone's all about it. So definitely the people by far.
Awesome. RJ?
I don't want to sound too corny or too agreeable with what Billy has to say, but it is the people. To be honest, I mean, my family's lived here my whole life. My mother and father grew up here. My grandparents moved out here from Brooklyn, and they were always involved in the community. And my family fell on hard times. I mean, I use hard times as a statement that, my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away, unfortunately, from rhabdomyosarcoma. But that whole process before she passed away and then till after she passed away, there was so much support. I mean, people delivered meals to our house every night. And then once she passed, we established a foundation. And within a day after her funeral, we had raised $10,000 from the people in this community. I mean, within a day. It was the funeral, and we had $10,000, and we were putting it into a bank account. And, we do research for rhabdomyosarcoma, and I say it all the time. We've raised almost over $500,000 by now for that cause, and Billy's added to that, and the people in this community have as well. And at the end, which rhabdo is a rare cancer, it's got 400 people diagnosed a year. That's why it doesn't get much attention. We fund a research scientist who's developed some amazing research on rhabdo and has had a lot of advancements. And, I always say that in the end, Lindenhurst will have had a hand in a cure. And that goes and that echoes throughout the world. And this community continues to touch people. And that's the greatest part, is we're always there for each other. And it is the people, 100%.
Thank you guys so much for allowing us to come down to Restaurant Kitchen.
Thanks, guys.
The 495 podcast. You're going to find us on Spotify, iTunes, and on Podbean.
Thanks so much, guys. This is awesome.
Appreciate it.
In my current state and in these days of war, we must grow together or the end is near. Thicken up your skin and loosen up your fears. I've been waiting through my limitations, choosing to move.